Truly, absolutely incredible.
The Prinx Tires USL Cup has the green light, and the race starts with a revving new rivalry between the historic New York Cosmos and the brand new Brooklyn FC. You may need to break out the wipers for this rainy affair in Paterson, New Jersey, but I hope you at home are staying dry, tuning in on ESPN Plus. My name is Mark Schoenster, excited to be presenting this one to you this afternoon. First game of the third year of this competition. And this year we've got 7 groups. All 7 winners will make it to the knockout round, with 1 second place team with the highest points also advancing on. It's different from years past where goals scored may be your tiebreaker. Here, you just need to get the most points. Now, which group are these 2 teams in? It's Group 5, presented by Capelli Sport, and it holds the reigning champion in this competition, Hartford Athletic. So, who can be the one to knock them off and win this group here in 2026? The Cosmos, a USL League One side, definitely punching up. Meanwhile, Brooklyn FC can also feel that same way, being that this is year number 1 as a competitive club on the men's side of things. But let's turn our attention again to the Cosmos. Slow start to this season, but a home stretch as of late, along with a couple of roster tweaks, has pumped some air into this team's hopes in the past few fixtures, getting some wins, their first of the season, a draw last game, and they're really starting to see the production offensively. Ajmer Spangler in particular has been fantastic on that end. But turning the attention to the back line, you've got to look at Anderson Holt, one of the experienced players on this team, and yet he's only 21 years old. But despite that fact, Davide Corti, the head coach, says he is the best player on the field for us at this moment. He demonstrated his passing range in the last game against Ford Madison, delivered a beautiful ball over the top to Ajmer Spangler. It was just how they drew it up, and we'll be seeing how he can manage and prove himself against championship foes. Now, to talk about Brooklyn. On their side of things, they're fresh off the lot. Brand new team, entirely new composition of squad players, and Marlon LeBlanc, the head coach, still has his wrench out as he's rotating this lineup game in and game out, trying to give everybody minutes and to figure out what that best 11 looks like once you get to the final stretch of the season, on top of making sure everybody is ready for the games in October and September, etc. And one of those players who's going to be getting a start in this game is Abdoulaye Kanté. Look, there have been several players on this team that have proven that they have the horsepower offensively. Kanté's had flashes, but he hasn't quite had the same production as some of his teammates. So this is a chance for him to demonstrate that he can produce at that level and should be getting starts as the season wears along. He certainly has the pedigree to do it, and the 6'1" midfielder has got the size and the pace to make stuff happen. It's time to start your engines. The first chapter of a new rivalry sets the stage for what should be another great season of Cup competition. Lineups at kickoff are up next.
I'm Bree, and I am Ion.
नाम कलीम जान है और मैं आयन हूँ.
Yo soy Ayan Bank.
हम तजिंदर कौर असी आयन बैंक हुंदे हम.
I'm Taiwan, and I am Ion.
اسمي أدمى وأنا آيان.
Ja jestem Ion Bank.
Eu sou Ion Bank.
Ja jestem Ion Bank.
I am Ion.
Prinx Tires is proud to be the presenting sponsor of the Prinx Tires USL Cup. Built for practical performance and the long haul, Prinx delivers reliability for everyday drivers like you. Visit PrinxTireUSA.com to learn more. Welcome one and all to this broadcast. My name is Mark Schoenster. Let's take a look at our starting lineups presented by Ion Bank. First off, for Davide Corti's side, two names to highlight. First off, at the top of the formation, Sebastian Guenzatti, more experienced than any player on the pitch this evening in the USL across these two teams. And then in goal, the goalkeeper coach, Boris Del Valle, is getting the start here in this match, and he'll be trying to stop this Brooklyn FC offense. Be looking at Callum Frogson and Son Ishiwaka to be swapping in that winger and left back spot throughout this game. But Lucas Burns also getting his first start of the season between the sticks, coming over from Portland Timbers too. Another guy to poke out as both these teams get some different faces in the lineup for this matchup. It's a chance for players to prove themselves, whether it be to the league above them or to their own coaching staff. And on top of all of that, it's a rivalry game. New York Cosmos, Brooklyn FC. Doesn't get much better than this. And it's time to hit the rubber to the road. The USL Cup enters year number 3. As you can see, it's a bit of a soggy one in New Jersey. 45 degrees, a little bit of rain. Winds currently sitting under 10 miles per hour. This is similar weather to what the Cosmos played in last Sunday in league play against Forward Madison, so they're certainly used to it. And of course, if the weather's like this at Patterson, not much different throughout the week in Brooklyn. So these are teams that are more than acclimated to this kind of climate. Certainly not the most, I guess, pleasurable climate to be playing in, cold and rainy. But both sides will have to soldier through it and show a little bit of grit while also facing a brand new opponent. As I mentioned a moment ago, this competition is such a great chance, especially for the USL League One teams, because this is an opportunity for you to prove yourself. And Davide Corti said it himself. He believes every game is a good chance for a player to really prove themselves to bigger squads. But I mean, when you actually get to play up against teams at higher levels, I guess there's a little bit more of a direct result of showing out and playing well, because you're proving that you can play that level because you're already playing against guys who are at that level. But he mentioned Ajmir Spangler in particular has already had such an outstanding start to the season and surely already turning heads from USL Championship clubs. But every single player should be fighting just a little extra harder in this one, given the fact that you could prove yourself. And on the team side of things as well, it's a great test. Get yourself really pushed to the limits against a side that competes at a division higher than you. And Spangler running it down the pitch. Slides it to his right for Solanka! Just off target! Nicolas Solanka getting his 3rd start of the season, plugging in for Davide Galazzini. And that one just curling, but was searching for top bins. Trying to get off to an electric start here. It has been good for the Cosmos as of late here in this home stretch. 2 wins and then a draw. Prior to that, started the season with 2 losses. Excuse me, 3 losses, I should say. Meanwhile, for Brooklyn, it's been a bit more wobbly at times. You've looked good in some games, others it hasn't quite been as sharp as this one's whipped inside and parried out by Anderson Holt. They'll push forward again. Okiyoshi doesn't get very far, but the clearances are scuffled around. Still in the penalty area for Brooklyn. Here's a shot, and it's off frame. So it'll be out for a goal kick for the Cosmos, as Brooklyn, having played a little more recently, had a match on Tuesday against Sacramento Republic, a game that they had victory in their hands, only to concede a penalty in the dying moments of that game and only come away with a draw at home 1-1. Marlon LeBlanc was telling me that obviously it's a disappointing end to the game and a learning moment for Gabby Alves in particular, but it doesn't discredit the other 90 minutes of that performance, which were really good. They were organized, they kept Sac Republic from being dangerous, and for the first time this season, they had consecutive decent performances, because they've had games where they've looked good, and then they've turned around and had a rough outing. So to get 2 in a row after bouncing the Charleston Battery convincingly, to then go toe-to-toe with what is always one of the staples in the USL Championship, Sac Republic, there are things to be pleased about. And now this competition, a chance to sort of reset yourself, and you start from zero again, in a literal and a figurative sense. Here's Jordan Chavez. Sliding out to the right-hand side. Some pressure, though. Wins the ball for Brooklyn. Ball cut up top. Shot ripped in. Hits the side netting. Thomas Vanka Yazil, another experienced player on the pitch here this evening, had a go at goal. Vanka Yazil with over 180 USL Championship appearances. He has certainly seen his fair share in this league. He's picked up a goal here and there, but obviously defending his primary objective. Has plugged in as a center back and as a fullback this season for Marlon LeBlanc. Just the kind of flexibility that the Frenchman is able to utilize at this stage in his career. This one will roll all the way back, and it's Lucas Burns, the goalkeeper for Brooklyn today, 23 years old. A New Jersey kid himself, but had made his way all the way across to the other coast last year to play for Portland Timbers too in MLS Next Pro, but now he's much closer to home playing with Brooklyn. Looked like a handball, but advantage will be played. Obregon. Send in the middle for Pinto. And it's just rolled too far ahead, but it ends up spilling back over. Alves will play it to the left-hand side for Nishikawa. Both sides still trying to find some stability here in this match. Passes are a little loose. Cosmos having improved in these past few games. Davide Corti, the man in charge, acknowledged they've been getting better. Their defensive recovery in particular has improved, and now his next challenge for the side is to get more presence in the box on attacks. Davide Galazzini in particular has really blossomed as a potent option over on that right-hand side, and they need to give him someone to cut the ball to. Sometimes it's just Sebastian Guenzati all by himself with many other colored jerseys surrounding him, and so it's a pretty impossible task for him to actually be on the receiving end of a cutting pass from the likes of Galazzini and others. So he wants to see some of those other players making those runs inside, whether it be in the box or on the edges. It's very interesting too, because this has not been a side that's lacked for offensive production so far, and there's still room for growth. 2 goals last game, 3 prior to the game before that, 2 after that. So, I mean, they've scored in every single game that they've played in this season. And only one occasion where, or excuse me, the first 2 games they only scored once, and then since then they've scored 2+ in every single fixture, which was something Marlon LeBlanc pointed out. And here come the visitors. Mangione. And it takes a deflection out for a corner kick. It's the sweatpants, the jacket, the beanie, trying to stay warm and dry here. That's Davide Corti, the first man in charge of the 3rd iteration of the New York Cosmos. And now, our first set piece of the evening for Brooklyn. Ball swerving in, and ultimately no one can make contact with it. Ball launched up to Guenzati. He's able to bring it down, though. He combines with Justin Milovanov. Now Kofi. Dragged over to the right-hand side. This is William Knocker. Played back into the middle, as they're going to have to find a way to, at times, work their way around some of these strong Brooklyn FC players. Knocker recently being locked in on a full-time contract after joining on a 25-day. Very quickly proving himself with this Cosmos team. On a roll all the way to the goalkeeper, Lucas Burns. Davali on the other side. Although he's the goalkeeper coach, just 26 years old, so he's, I mean, just as old as the other guys on the pitch with him. Not that much older than most of them. Still a pretty relatively young squad for the New York Cosmos. He is the 3rd oldest guy out there, behind Jordan Chavez at 29 years old, and then Guenzati, of course, 34. Some pressure here for the goalkeeper from Obregon. Holt. Just trying to knock it away. Well, they were looking to take it quickly and then opt to instead be more careful about their approach. Weren't able to catch the Cosmos snoozing. Mangione, curling service. Ends up at the feet of Nishikawa. And he's earned a corner kick. There's Juan Carlos Obregon. Familiar with USL League One, having won the Golden Boot last year for Westchester and competed with the Charlotte Independents prior to that. Made the jump up, as you would hope someone who wins the Golden Boot would. Still trying to find his goal-scoring form here at the USL Championship level. He'll be fishing for an assist here. But some contact means that one wouldn't have counted anyway. The USL on the CBS Sports Network kicks off the month of May with a championship clash of Eastern Conference powerhouses. Detroit City FC take on Louisville City FC at 6 p.m. Eastern on May 2nd. Catch all the action on the CBS Sports Network. That's going to be a tasty rematch of what was a huge upset in last year's USL Championship playoffs. Lou City, who have been so good these past few years in the regular season, but haven't been able to find the same level of success in the knockout rounds. These two teams, this is their first foray in the USL Cup, so they have no preconceived notions about how they're going to do in this contest, having not been a part of it the past 2 seasons. Just like this is the first time these two teams are ever playing each other in this birth of a new rivalry. To quote Marlon LeBlanc, we're a new franchise. There is no history yet, so in essence, this is a chance to make some. Obregon whipping it in, still on the ground. And the offside flag goes up. And although this game isn't happening at Maimonides Park, which is a former home of the New York Cosmos, Marlon LeBlanc saying, we got to prove that it belongs to us now. Do whatever we can to start to create the derby here now. I think both coaches were in somewhat of agreement that really a derby is created by the fans, but you got to have the game first in order for that to occur. And there has to be some backstory in order for there to really be some saltiness between two teams. And of course, these two teams having never played each other, you just don't have that animosity yet. But it can be brewed real quick. We've seen some USL rivalries get off to ripping starts. I mean, I'm looking at El Clamico, which is going to be taking place later today. That one didn't take very long. Mangione rolling it over to the left-hand side. Conte back across the middle. And it's booted out of danger. It'll be another corner kick. Oh, no, actually, it's going to be a throw in deep. For those at home, by the way, El Clamico, Hartford Athletic, Rhode Island. For maybe our USL League One head cases who are fully locked in on that league and aren't watching USL Championship as frequently. And I say that with total endearment. Foul committed. Free kick won by the Cosmos. Massimo Morabito, the 18-year-old fullback, back in the starting lineup here in this game. Tino Puentes picking up a knock, had been getting that look. So a bit of a competition for that position as the season goes along. Obregon rolling it in centrally. Here's Conte on the ball, rolling it back. And on the other end of things, the ball takes a couple deflections, and it's going to be Brooklyn ball. Ajmir Spangler trying to take it up the pitch. It's going to be tough to take any of these players on 1v1 if you're the Cosmos. Davide Corti described Brooklyn as a physical team that's athletic and strong. You know how you can work your way around some of these guys who could really take you out in 1v1 situations. You've got to move the ball quickly. He said, the quicker we combine, the better chances we have of getting past them. Well, that one wasn't effectively cleared away, but after some extra contributions, they're able to get it out of harm's way, and now I have some fallout here. With the pace that some of these Brooklyn attackers can provide. One of the key things for this back line, guys like Chavez and Anderson Holt in particular, got to anticipate those long passes. So then when one of those strikers gets on their bike, they're ready to keep pace with them because it's not an easy task. Which is why you need to be able to read the situation and maybe even forecast the run before the striker even thinks about it. Yeah, it's an unfair proposition, but those are the kind of scenarios that sometimes you find yourself in when you're having to punch up a rank. Obregon is taking a lot of shirt tugs there. And eventually the whistle from a head official, Lauren Aldrich, gets this one going, and wow, well, there's evidence of the shirt tug happening. Reminiscent of Erling Haaland last weekend. Conte got a touch away. Some loose passing here from the Cosmos as they're trying to get it out of danger once again. Once again, a little bit too much from Spangler, who was the first player that Marlon LeBlanc highlighted when talking about this Cosmos team. Watch the USL Championship in Spanish on 2DN8. The nation's leading Spanish language sports network. Go to uslchampionship.com for the complete USL TV listings. Spangler was the first player he named, and then Guenzati was the second. This one rolled out wide. Cross ripped inside, gets by the goalkeeper. No one there to receive it for Brooklyn. Cut to the top. Obregon! Knocked away by Del Valle. Boris Del Valle, once again, the goalkeeping coach, stepping into this one, taking the place of Tristan Stefani. Derek Chan unavailable. Pinto rolls it in for Obregon. Now Mangione running forward. That is a good poke from William Knocker. And now the Cosmos will run in the other direction. Christian Kofi trying to slice it up to Spangler. Spangler into the middle. Headed straight up into the air and out for a corner kick. How about this? That's a guy who scored 17 goals last year in USL League One. Not the kind of guy you want to be facing up against, especially in a good location, but Del Valle able to make the save, and now a corner kick for the Cosmos. Let's see if Lucas Burns on the other side gets called into action. Spangler. Rolled all the way across, knotted down, still in the woods. Spangler have a second service. Played inside. A one-timer, not badly taken. Two good looks here for the home side. Good reaction there from Lucas Burns, especially on that second one. It was Jordan Chavez who had a piece of both of those corner kick interactions. The first nodding back in centrally, and then the second one he took with one touch. Both sides have had their forays going into the attacking third. And this one will be rolled out to Morabito, who will rip it up the pitch. A lot of respect for the way the Cosmos are operating here in 2026 from Marlon LeBlanc. So they've got some really good young players, and they're playing them. You can see that philosophy coming in and playing some nice attacking football. Lots of pace out wide. He'll be particularly acquainted with the likes of Christian Kofi, whom was playing in the MLS Next Pro ranks for the past few seasons, which is where LeBlanc was before taking over as the first head coach of the Brooklyn FC men's team. This one played in centrally. Obregon, demonstrative in his frustration there. Nearly had the first goal of the third edition of the USL Cup. This is the Prinx Tires USL Cup in 2026. Competition composed of the USL Championship and USL League One, the two professional divisions of the United Soccer League. Of course, won't be too long before there are three divisions. Okiyoshi, really been a fantastic player for Brooklyn this season so far. No one's played more minutes than he has, the Japanese midfielder. Kofi hits the brakes. Tries to send this one to Zalanka. Knocker keeps it going. Cutting in the middle for Spangler. Ajmir Spangler blocked by Alves. You wondered for a moment if a whistle was going to sound there, but play went on. Out wide. Frogson trying to poke it in and doing a great job there is Morabito. Massimo Morabito, a guy that it's probably crossed the paths of Marlon LeBlanc coming from Philadelphia. Experience in the Union Academy, so definitely some overlap there, as that's a rough pass. Here he is on the ball once again. Rolling it up ahead to Kofi. There have been some chair-clenching moments of distribution along the back line for the Cosmos, but so far they've avoided anything catastrophic. But those are some telling signs for Brooklyn as this game wears along. They're close but no cigar up to this point, but is it an omen for what could be a bad giveaway as the game goes along? Mangione. Pull this one back, and once again, it'll be Rocco Romeo and Gabriel Alves combining from the center back positions. Here's Zalanka with some room to work with, plays it in front of Guinzotti. Just curled out of his reach. Now Kofi, dancing with the ball, feeds it in the middle for Zalanka. Back for Spangler. Couldn't put it on target. but a well-worked counterattack. Even if all of the dots weren't connected sharply, they still made something of it. You'd love for that ball to Guenzati to be at his feet, because then the veteran, I mean, he's proven time and time again that he could score in the United Soccer League. But even then, still able to conjure up something in a pretty decent shot location for Ajmer Spangler, who's scored 5 goals already in USL League One play. Currently leading the pack in that regard. Malik Pinto slides it wide, but not wide enough. Oh, hold on. We're gonna get our first booking. And it has been handed to, I believe, Jordan Chavez. We'll get official confirmation on that, but that does seem to be the guy who just got the card. So Jordan Chavez confirmed, gets the booking. Has 1 yellow card in league play and now picks up the first booking in the 2026 Prinx Tires USL Cup. Not necessarily the first you were trying to pick up today, but the first of the first nonetheless. He's paired up with Anderson Holt along that back line. Mentioned before the game that Holt had a wonderfully served ball from the back line all the way up top to Ajmer Spangler to get their first goal in that game against Madison on Sunday. It was something they were preparing for. They felt like they could pull that back line out of shape for Ford Madison, and Ajmer Spangler made the run, which usually he's the guy bringing the ball up the pitch, so for him to run without the ball was him showing off another element to his game, and it was just perfectly placed by Anderson Holt. But it was a situation where it was something they were seeing in film that they thought they could pull off, and then they execute on it. And that's another example of players being able to build belief in the dynamic between the coaching staff and the players, because you went in with an idea, you're able to actually capitalize on it. So let's keep coming up with those kind of schemes and games going forward. You wonder what they've been able to cook up in this one as Kofi lets it skip, but it's off target. It's tweaks like that, though, that build you into the right direction as a side. Both of these teams are looking for those confidence-building moments where you see it all come together, and then you have the proof of concept. Both these clubs have had their bright moments here in their first years in the USL. Can you consistently put it together? Kofi rolling it in the middle, and it trickles by everybody. Stepping inside there is Knocker, and now it's blasted up the field. Holt just trying to slow things down. Obregon has Conte running, and Boris Silvale, although he doesn't really get the ball, did enough to intervene for Conte, but it's still on. Tap to the top. Malik Pinto! Let it rip. But he couldn't put it on frame. It was wide of the left post. A stretching moment for Brooklyn. But they do not find the icebreaker here. When it comes to attacking these cup games, the conversation is certainly an interesting one for a USL Championship team, because last year, obviously, you're going to see some teams go at this match with some roster rotation, especially when you're going up against a USL League One team. Just a chance for players to get in some more minutes, but really, that's not the scenario here for Brooklyn FC, and there's a very clear reason why, as Nishikawa gets the yellow card. And that reason is that, yes, they're going to rotate in this game, but they've been doing that all season long anyway. Yeah, that's a pretty clear as day foul, by the way. Every single game, they've been making changes to the starting 11, giving minutes to one guy and then to another in the game after that, all with the idea of it paying off in the long term. You want to make sure everybody gets good minutes in the season, so then if their name is called, especially late in the season, they're ready. Because that could come for many reasons: card accumulation, injuries. If you're doing well in this competition, that's extra games in the midweek. You need your whole squad ready. Conte. Trying to shrug off some contact as this ball's curling in! And Obregon cashes it in! The Brooklyn man scores against the rival club. It was a looping cross, and Juan Carlos Obregon Jr. finishes the job here. Just bounces it low enough for Del Valle that he can't manage it. He was just the stronger guy there. Not the biggest number 9 by any stretch of the imagination. Standing at about 5'7". But sometimes it's hard over height. And he has just put the USL Championship side up ahead in this one. It's an opportunity to establish yourself on the team, whether you're a regular starter or a guy getting minutes. Scoring a goal here obviously does good for Obregon, who has started in 4 matches so far, so 4 of the 7 games they've played in. So certainly not a guy who's been lacking opportunities up to this point, but this will be his first goal in open play this season, after his first goal in the USL Championship this year came from the penalty spot in the home opener / team opener.
Or email tickets at nycosmos.com to get started today.
So a goal for Brooklyn FC in this first matchup in a new rivalry between the New York Cosmos and Brooklyn. The Cosmos now based in Paterson, New Jersey, which is where this game is being played. If you wanted to ask how far away that is from where Brooklyn plays, the answer is it depends. Sometimes of the day, that's about an hour drive. Other times it could be 2 to 3 hours, so that's New York traffic for you. Nishikawa rolling it back to Alves. Long ball up the pitch. Obregon is persistent. Still trying to make something happen. It's picked up by Pinto. I think he thought about trying to cut that out to the right channel, but he didn't like his avenue. They'll go back to work here. Obregon rolls it out wide. Here comes the cross. Not out of the woods yet. Alves takes a touch. Gabby Alves makes it 2 for Brooklyn FC. the Brazilian defender, putting in some offense. Another one of those guys who have played both fullback and center back for this Brooklyn team. But in this case, it's all forward for Gabby Alves. Gets his first goal of the season for Brooklyn. And a pretty special one for this game in particular for him, because he was the one who committed the foul that gave the late game penalty kick to Sac Republic on Tuesday, which resulted in 3 points turning into 1. It's a situation where you know you made a mistake. It's one you're never going to make ever again. And for him in particular, and for Marlon LeBlanc, I should say, he talked about how the locker room came and supported him after the game, because this is a team that the priority given the abbreviated offseason they had to put together this team was for character over tactics. Obviously, you account for tactics as well, but you want to make sure you get the right guys to the locker room first, and guys who are ready to handle the highs and the lows. And they had to handle that low in the locker room after the game. And given the fact that although he was given a red card for that infraction, obviously that doesn't translate into this cup competition. So Marlon LeBlanc said, we're going to give him another go at it. A, so then he can put in a performance to shake off that one, and B, as a show of faith from us in him. And now they are reaping the rewards of that faith as Nishikawa jukes inside. Tried to make it 3, but it was an ambitious shot at the end of the day. Select is proud to be the official match ball supplier of the USL Championship and USL League One. From the grassroots to the pros, Select is there every step of the way. Visit us.select-sport.com for the latest Select products, specials, and more. Select, the player's choice. Well, this is a position that the Cosmos found themselves in just on Sunday against Madison. They were down 2-0 in that game at halftime. Now, granted, they did have an extra little boost of morale going into the locker room in the fact that they were going to be up a player, given a red card that was issued. But the urging that's probably going to happen in the dressing room here is going to be similar to the urging then from Davide Corti. He pushed his guys to go for it, and in the first 20 minutes of the second half, they were all over the main ghost, scored 2 goals, and at the end of the day, maybe even disappointed that they didn't get a third goal to pick up all 3 points. And that way it was an opportunity that was going to the wayside, but at the same time, he was really happy, Davide Corti, with the reaction from his group. Let's see if they can muster up a similar reaction here. Mangione rolls it to Conte. Pick that one out. Abdoulaye Conte leaving his mark on the match. Perfectly placed in the bottom right corner. The Frenchman makes it 3-0. I mean, nothing the goalkeeper can do there. It's right where you'd want to put that ball. You couldn't have imagined it being placed any better, as Abdoulaye Conte really helps his team assert their place in this game. He was one of the guys that Marlon LeBlanc highlighted as someone he wanted to see step up and show themselves in this game, because there's been a lot of good competition in those winger spots for Brooklyn. A lot of guys who have been playing pretty well, and So this is a chance for a guy like Conte to show that he can also offer up some production and, well, get your first goal of the season. You can check off that box here in the first half of action, and of course, they'll be hungry to add even more numbers. They could be hungry for another here. Obregon sending it back in, may have taken a hit to the face, and that's the opinion of our head official, Lauren Aldridge. Let's take a look at Obregon here. Yeah, may have just taken a swipe from the face, even if inadvertently, from Nick Mendonca. And of course, that's the charitable interpretation. And he will get the yellow card for it. Let's see, 2 more minutes tacked on here before we go to the halftime break.
Yellow card issued to number 20, Nick Mendonca of New York Cosmos. Tarjeta amarilla para el número 20, Nick Mendonca de New York Cosmos. And before the visual...
Soccer season is here, and SeatGeek is the official ticketing partner of the USL. Get all your USL tickets and more from the #1 ticketing site, SeatGeek, your ticket to great seats. Kofi making the run from Spangler, playing it in the center for Guenzati. Trickles through to Zelanka. The back heel. Up top! Oh, that one wasn't far off for Mendonca. Trying to take something to the break with them, the Cosmos. Just once again, like a couple of the opportunities in this game for the home side. You like some of the positions they're finding themselves in, but it's just not quite sharp enough. Whether it be on the final shot or one of the cutting passes needed. Burns lofts it up the pitch. Spangler trying to release it over to Kofi. Guenzati will do it. Christian Kofi. Oh, his touch got away from him. And Lucas Burns will kill as much time as he can to get that halftime whistle from our head official. After 45 plus, the USL Championship side, Brooklyn FC, have staked their claim. It is 3-0 in favor of the visitors. Both sides will go to the dressing room and see what needs to be done in the second 45. For Brooklyn, it's just about walking this to the finish line. The Cosmos, well, they've got a lot of work to do. And although they'll be taking a break, we won't be on the broadcast. We just have a couple messages for you, and then we'll be back with some content here on ESPN+. Once again, 3-0 in favor of Brooklyn FC. We'll see you after this.
I'm Brie, and I am Ion.
नाम कलीम चान है और मैं आयन हूँ.
Yo soy Ayan Bank.
हम ਤਜਿੰਦਰ ਕੌਰ ਅਸੀਂ ਆਇਨ ਬੈਂਕ ਹੁੰਦੇ ਹਾਂ
I'm Taiwan, and I am Ion.
اسمي أدمى وأنا آيان.
Ja jestem Ayan Bank.
Eu sou Ion Bank.
Ja jestem Ion Bank.
I am Ion.
Ready, buddy? Here it comes. Keep your eye on the ball.
We see your future.
I got my eye on these colors.
Your day-to-day.
Okay. Well, I got my eye on this.
Yeah, right.
Really? And every big decision along the way. We see you when other banks really don't. So we can see you through anything. We're always looking out for you. Ion Bank.
A dominant opening 45 minutes for Brooklyn FC. 3-0 your scoreline in this inaugural match of this rivalry between the New York Cosmos and Brooklyn FC. Mark Schoenster with you here on ESPN+. This is a part of the Prinx Tires USL Cup, and if you're still a little unfamiliar with the format, the rules, and everything that goes into this competition, it is not the Open Cup, and it's not a regular season game. So let's give you a dive into all of the rules and everything you need to know about this competition.
When Hartford Athletics' Adrian Deespace scored in the 83rd minute against Rhode Island FC, it began a furious finish to the 2025 USL Cup group stage finales. Deespace's goal kept Hartford alive in the race to advance in the competition as a wild card. Less than 10 minutes later in Detroit, Matt Sheldon capped Detroit City's 3-0 win over Westchester SC, taking that wild card away from Hartford. Minutes later in Kentucky, Louisville City's Jake Morris scored twice and added time to defeat Lexington SC 2-1. Louisville was now the owner of the wild card, but not for long. Back in Pawtucket, Hartford outlasted Rhode Island in a penalty kick shootout. Hartford Athletic reclaimed the wild card spot that two other clubs held for mere minutes. So how did we get here? Well, after 4 group stage matches, Hartford Athletic and Louisville City were tied with 9 points. The first tiebreaker, total goals. Hartford scored 9, Louisville had 8. And that wild card spot launched Hartford's run to the USL Cup title. This year's Cup promises even more drama. 42 clubs in the USL Championship and League One will form 7 groups filled out by region. Each club will play 4 group matches, and when the dust settles, the 7 group winners will advance along with 1 wildcard team, not 2 wildcards like last year. The remaining 8 clubs will be drawn into 4 quarterfinal matches with 1 stipulation. The wildcard cannot be drawn against its group winner. The 4 quarterfinal winners will then be drawn for the semifinal round, with the 2 finalists drawn to determine the host for the Prinx Tires USL Cup final.
Pain doesn't care who you are or why you hurt, but pain can be mastered if you know the way. Fight back with Tiger Balm's legendary herbal power. Trusted for over 100 years, our proven blend of camphor, menthol, and essential oils tames pain with the strength and speed of the tiger, so that you can rise above pain and get back to living. This is the way of the tiger.
Prinx tires in the USL help soccer journeys everywhere to drive harder. From city playgrounds to suburban sidelines, from early mornings to late nights, from fun with friends to winner takes all, from the biggest fan to the biggest heart. And at every turn, Prinx tires will be there for the long haul.
I'm Bree and I am Ion.
नाम कलीम चान है और मैं आयन हूँ.
Yo soy Ion Bank.
हम तजिंदर कौर असी आयन बैंक हुंदे हम.
I'm Taiwan, and I am Ion.
اسمي أدمى وأنا آيان.
Ja jestem Ion Bank.
Eu sou Ion Bank.
Ja jestem Ion Bank.
I am Ion.
Welcome back here on ESPN Plus from Hinchliffe Stadium. Brooklyn FC dominant over the New York Cosmos after 45 plus 3-0. Your scoreline, Mark Schuster with you here for the opening match in the Prinx Tires USL Cup. Happy to have you here with us. Even when the action is not taking place on the pitch, we still have things to talk about, including where will the action be in the future for these two teams. I'm looking at that Westchester game, which is highlighted beautifully here. It's the next Prinx Tires USL Cup match for the New York Cosmos, and it's another in-state, well, sort of New Jersey, New York rivalry between Westchester, which should also become a bit of a rivalry in USL League One, not just within the confines of a domestic cup. Lots of road games after what has been a 4-game home streak for the Cosmos. So they're going to be tested here in these next few matches. Meanwhile, for Brooklyn, yeah, once again, you got to look at the cup match against Hartford Athletic. They already played each other one time this season in what was a very competitive game. Hartford got the win. Brooklyn's going to be looking for some payback because they played fantastically in that second half in particular against Hartford and really could have come back and gotten a point or all 3 points in that game with the way that they were firing on goal. Just couldn't quite break through. With that in mind, though, there's other things to catch you up on. Dan Lucas is going to give you the halftime update, so let's toss it over to him.
It is halftime in the Prinx Tires USL Cup. Time for some of the headlines for this week. I'm Dan Lucas inside the USL studio. Corey Bennett of Colorado Springs scored 2 goals against Monterey Bay in Week 7 of the USL Championship. That's 6 goals for the season, the Golden Boot lead through 7 games, and that total matches the season high for an individual player from the Switchbacks in 2025. In League One, AC Boise's first home victory of the season was a dominating 4-0 performance against Westchester SC. Dennis Kostashin climbed within a goal of the leader in the Golden Boot race with a pair of goals. He's now scored 3 times in Boise's past 2 games. And Boise played a big part in a huge attendance week for League One in Week 7. More than 22,000 fans total. Boise led the way with 7,204. And Portland Hearts of Pine close behind, 6,033. If those 2 clubs were in the USL Championship, Boise would rank 6th in average attendance through 7 weeks. Portland would rank 8th. Upcoming national broadcasts for both the Championship and League One: Detroit City and Louisville City. Boise hosts FC Naples, and Richmond hosts Charleston in the Prinx Tires USL Cup. All 3 matches are on the CBS Sports Network. Well, the second half is getting closer. Let's get you back out to your match.
This week on USL All Access, it's the convergence of cups. We walk through the round of 32 in US Open Cup, get ready for the first round of group stage games in the Prinx Cup.
Off-season roster building comparisons between the Tampa Bay Rowdies and Sporting Jacksonville. What's the biggest difference between the two that has caused the early year success for the Tampa Bay Rowdies?
You'll see it SiriusXM FC or the USL YouTube page every Tuesday night.
Ready, buddy? Here it comes. Keep your eye on the ball.
We see your future.
I got my eye on these colors.
Your day-to-day.
Okay. Well, I got my eye on this.
Yeah, right.
Really? And every big decision along the way. We see you when other banks really don't. So we can see you through anything. We're always looking out for you. Ion Bank.
I'm Bree, and I am Ion.
नाम कलीम चांद है और मैं आयन हूँ.
Yo soy Ion Bank.
हम तजिंदर कौर असी आयन बैंक ਹੁੰਦੇ ਹਾਂ.
I'm Taiwan, and I am Ion.
اسمي أدمى وأنا آيان.
Ja jestem Ion Bank.
Eu sou Ion Bank.
Ja jestem Ion Bank.
I am Ion.
Back here at Hinchliffe Stadium for the second half of action. Prinx Tires is proud to be the presenting sponsor of the Prinx Tires USL Cup. Built for practical performance and the long haul, Prinx delivers reliability for everyday drivers like you. Visit PrinxTireUSA.com to learn more. And welcome back, everybody, here on ESPN Plus. Mark Schoster with you for this one. Let's catch you up on the 3 goals that were scored in the first half of action, all by Brooklyn. Callum Frogson, looping cross, dips down right for Juan Carlos Obregon, to nod home to open up the goal scoring in this year's Prinx Tires USL Cup. And it wouldn't be too long after they find another. Just 4 minutes later, it'd be Gabby Alves who would clean this one up, rushing by Spangler, just wanting it more, and then slotting it by the goalkeeper, Boris Del Valle, making it 2-0 in favor of Brooklyn. And then it would be another 4-minute window until they'd get their 3rd goal. And this one would be Abdoulaye Kante. Fed to him nicely. He takes it one time. Perfectly done. Mangione picking up his first assist with Brooklyn FC. A lot of firsts stat-wise for Brooklyn in this one on the individual side of things. And they're the ones who, as the game went along, started to have more control in this affair. Early in the game, it was a bit of a feeling out process for both teams. And it was still up in the air who was going to take hold in the game, and now it's pretty abundantly clear which side has the grip on it now. But we still have 45 more minutes, and you never know with this sport, you never know in this competition in particular, what could happen, especially when there's a little bit of that rivalry sauce too. Chance for the Cosmos to maybe make this one interesting, though of course, Brooklyn FC, the USL Championship team, you expect them to be the favorites coming into this game, and they have now firmly planted themselves in that spot and are looking to get off to a great start in Group 5. A group, mind you, by the way, again, is shared with Hartford Athletic, a team that are the reigning champs in the USL Cup. Once this game is done, I'd recommend tuning in on the CBS Sports Network for Hartford Athletic Rhode Island, because that's another game in this group, along with Westchester and Portland Hearts of Pine, also at 7 p.m. on ESPN Plus, just to stay abreast on everything that's going on within the group that these two teams are competing in. It's clumps of 6 and 7 across the Prinx Tires USL Cup. Well, 6 and 7, and then one group with 5, that being the Florida batch of Naples, Miami, Sarasota, Sporting Jackson, Tampa Bay. Been a rainy day in Paterson, New Jersey, here at Hinchliffe Stadium. No subs to report to you here for these two teams, so they're going to trot out with the same personnel that they did for the whole game up to this point. It is mid-40s, a little bit of wind. Certainly unfriendly weather to be playing the sport in, but these two teams can manage. And now we await for Peter Mangione to kick this into play following the Whistle from Lauren Aldrich, our head official. And we are rolling once again. Maybe cloudy right now, but it's been sunny skies for Brooklyn up to this point. And the Cosmos rain on their parade a little bit here. Once again, welcoming you in. My name is Mark Schoenster, excited to be reacting to this one with you here. Spangler dances by two defenders, tried to slip it to Guenzati. Looking to make a statement early on in this one, in the second half of action. Cosmos had a really good look very early on in the first half as well. Obviously, didn't result in points on the board, so obviously almost only counts in horseshoes and hand grenades. Massimo Morabito tosses it into Kofi. Tried to combine with his fullback counterpart, is now on the ball. And Duncan couldn't find anywhere to go with it. Pinto flipping that one along. He was one of the other guys that Marlon LeBlanc was excited to get the opportunity to get the start in this game. A player that has been outstanding in his contributions so far this season and has earned the chance to start in this game. I mentioned in the first half that they were challenging Abdoulaye Kanté to generate offense because the other guys in his position have been able to do so, and here he is again. Kanté all by himself. Abdoulaye Kanté took a shove from Chavez, and there's no whistle from our official. Had a goal in the first half, Kanté, and was hunting for a brace. Guenzati's brought down, and a free kick incoming. Rocco Romeo, the assailant. Now the challenge for Kanté coming into this game was, could he produce offensively in the same way that the starters at those spots have been this season? Look at the likes of Jaden Servania, CJ Olney Jr. Marcus Anderson can even plug out wide a little bit. Well, sometimes you have two players whispering to each other as far as what they're going to craft up on a set piece, and this time Davide Corti partaking in that conversation. It's Zelanka and Spangler by the dead ball. Spangler rips it inside, and it goes straight to Lucas Burns, getting his first appearance with Brooklyn in Brooklyn colors. Well, Obregon whiffed that one. Chavez laying it out to the right-hand side for William Knocker. He's on the ball again, Knocker trying to get it to go forward. And he doesn't give up on the play. It's Knocker again. Ball sent to the middle. Good intervention from Burns. Guenzati was practically able to receive that pass, but then Burns was right there for it. It's a great ball from Knocker, but Lucas Burns reads the play, forces the corner kick. now the corner for the Cosmos. Dropping down and ultimately harmless. Jordan Chavez did everything he could to get a piece of it, but couldn't make any danger out of the ball. Can't watch the match? Turn on Sirius XM-FC 157, North America's only 24/7 source for engaging soccer talk, including USL All Access on Tuesday nights. Plus hear live matches from the USL, MLS, Premier League, and more, all on Sirius XM-FC 157 in the Sirius XM app. Obregon. In the middle, it's poked outward to Pinto. Malik Pinto, good feed to Mangione! Once again, sailing over top. Peter Mangione with an assist in this game, coming over from FC Cincinnati 2, where he played for 2 seasons. One of those guys also competing for some of those attacking positions in this lineup. Playing as sort of the number 10 here this evening, or I guess I should more say afternoon. Pinto composed there as he cuts it aside. Guanzati couldn't reach that pass as the rain is picking up here once again in Patterson. Conte picking up some speed. He is double teamed, but that won't deter him. Conte! His service glanced away by a third defender, Jordan Chavez. How about the work there from the 26-year-old Frenchman? Looking pretty dead to rights, right along the boundary, too. But he's not going to waver too easily. And now, So Nishikawa. He'll drill it in. Good work there from Okiyoshi to pick up that loose ball before a breakaway could take place. Okiyoshi, a guy that Marlon LeBlanc calls the best player on our team so far this season. He said, you know, Marcus Anderson, Obregon, Jackson Lee, the goalkeeper. Yeah, they're going to get the limelight, the attention, the fanfare. But Taimu has been their best guy. As pressure nearly rewarded here, Holt has to get it out of danger. And the bodies for Brooklyn keep flying forward. To finish that thought about Okiyoshi, a player that's been consistent, works hard. They play through him as a connector. He does all the dirty work, and he has been reliable this season. And maybe he's a guy on this Brooklyn FC team that, as a fan of Brooklyn, you haven't noticed yet. Just think about all the contributions he gives throughout the game, even if he's not the one ending up on the score sheet or making any crazy saves. In many ways, those guys up top like Obregon and Anderson wouldn't be able to do what they've done so far this season if not for the contributions from Okiyoshi, as Kofi gets shielded off by Okiyoshi there. eFootball is here. Live your dream, rep your team, and play as your favorite USL Championship club. eFootball is free to play. Download now. Obregon Rolling it out wide. Conte into the 18. Cutting in centrally. Lost his touch for a moment. Now Kiyoshi lays it to the left. Drilling across. Del Valle gets a piece. And then the follow-up effort off frame. And some punishment being taken for it. Peter Mangione came crashing in. Nishikawa, the one who let it fly the first time. Boris Del Valle able to get a save, but it spilled back into a dangerous spot. Mangione a little bit too much force there as he was driving to recover the ball. This is the first ever meeting between Brooklyn FC and the New York Cosmos, a rivalry in the making. As Davide Corti put it, a battle for the throne of the city. Of course, I'm sure New York City FC and Red Bull New York would also love to have a say in that conversation, but they're not participating in this competition, so they can't leave their mark in that regard. Of course, each and every one of these clubs in the New York City area are all gonna have so much pride and representation for their respective badges, and would love to assert their dominance over the area. Each calibration and configuration bringing its own interesting nuances. And these two sides on the opposite end of the historical scale of things. Of course, the Cosmos, so rich in U.S. soccer history. Brooklyn FC, this is year number 1 as a men's club. You've also got the Gainbridge Super League team that has been competing and also not far off from being brand new either. You see there was just a really good 10-minute window for Brooklyn in the first half, and it's given them this 3-0 lead. They've looked promising to find another here in the second half, though, as Conte plays it over to the left-hand side. Mangione surveying, waiting for the time to release. Maybe perhaps a bit too patient there from Mangione as Kofi skips it forward. Just trying to find one of those potent attackers in a dangerous spot. Ajmir Spangler, the intended recipient there. Guenzati, not a fan of that whistle. Frogson getting the chance to play further up today. Callum Frogson, the Englishman graduate out of the University of North Carolina. His 3rd start this season, and all of his starts have been his only appearances so far for Brooklyn, as he's on the ball now. Frogson curling it across and won't find anybody this occasion, but it was his cross to Obregon that got the goal scoring started here. Spangler tapping it to the left for Mendonca. That'll be Spangler again as he taps it back to Morabito, and I'll see if they can find something going in the other direction. Hopeful ball over the top, and no one's making the run. So Lucas Burns scoops it on the other side. Chance today for Lucas Burns to show the pressure he's been applying in training. As Marlon LeBlanc put it, you don't get given minutes, you earn them. But Jackson Lee has just been so good for them this season up to this point that it's been hard to get Lucas Burns a start. Change of competition. It's a perfect opportunity, though, to award the hard work that Burns has been putting in. Pinto sliding it up the left-hand side. Mangione back to Pinto. And this one ripped towards goal. Del Valle got the initial block, and then it was booted away. Frogson feeds in the middle for Okiyoshi. And he'll cut it out wide. Nishikawa being defended by Knocker. Will Knocker, a defender whom recently got the full-time contract after coming in late as a 25-day guy. But a player who immediately showed his quality in tryouts, according to Davide Corti. Described him as a professional guy. And he said it was easy for him to go to the club and talk to them in order to bring him on for the rest of the season. One of their fastest defenders, a powerful player as well. And in fact, when he began starting is when this positive streak started as well for the New York Cosmos. So there's certainly some cases to be made of just how important his contributions have been as Obregon rolls this one back in lightly. Conte leaves it to the back. Okiyoshi tried to flip it along to Pinto. And now Conte, once again, steps into a shot. And he wipes out as he lets it fly. Now the challenge for Knocker is to keep pushing that standard, and a game like this is certainly an opportunity for him to hone his craft. Milovanov all the way down the pitch, settled down by Zalanka. Zalanka blocked immediately. And then the whistle sounds as he falls on top of the ball, and he's gonna call for a substitution. Now Zalanka, he sits on the turf. That may have been the last of what was in the tank for him. Tried to pull a fast one there, but our ref is privy. And we'll get our first two changes of the day, but they will not be for the Cosmos. It's going to be for the visitors. Vuk Latinovic will sub on for Callum Frogson, who got the first assist of the day. And then bad news for the home side, because Abdoulaye Conte, who did score a goal in this game, comes off, but in comes Marcus Anderson, who has been a weapon for this Brooklyn team so far this season. 5 appearances, 3 goals, 2 assists. Do have a player warming up, trying to get onto the pitch for Davide Corti's side. The young Julian Locker trying to take Zalanka's place. will be punched in officially. So out comes Zalanka. In comes the 18-year-old NYC FC Academy product. Another guy who really going to appreciate the aspect of this matchup in particular. Okiyoshi rolling it up ahead. Here's Marcus Anderson. That is a dangerous man. Rolls it to Okiyoshi. Not his best work there, giving it away. Rolled out to Guenzati. Sebastian Guenzati, marked by Romeo. I'll play it back to Mendonca. And here he is again. Can he keep it in bounds? Well, not for very long. The USL Championship and League One are on CBS Sports and ESPN platforms all season long. Catch live matches and expert analysis every day on the CBS Sports Golazo Network and ESPN+. Go to USLChampionship.com or USLLeague1.com for the complete USL TV listings. Morbito tried to find Kofi after it takes a couple of pinball bounces. Brooklyn get it out of the danger zone.
Substitutions first for Brooklyn FC. Entering the pitch, number 35.
This is a Brooklyn team that's still looking for their form when it comes to road matches, and you debate in your mind just how applicable fixing that form is in a game like this. Vanka Yazila feeds it inside for Anderson. Because although this is an away game, that is how it will officially be logged. But you didn't have to stay overnight somewhere else. You got to sleep in your own bed. It's a short commute. Well, short quote-unquote commute, depending on the traffic. As Obregon rolls it out wide. Vanka Yazil swerving in. With the outside of his boot, he finds Obregon! Marcus Anderson was waiting on the left-hand side, but you don't mind the captain letting one fly from that distance. Just trying to see if he could find the far post there. He certainly thought he could. As another offensive piece will make its way onto the pitch for Brooklyn. Sean Hundal. And that's the end of Peter Mangione's afternoon. I was talking about it earlier, though. When it comes to trying to fix your road form, they haven't had that many road games, so it may be a little bit harsh to say they haven't been able to get it done on the road. They've only had 2 matches, but you still want to find your first win on the road at some point in time. And does a win here really help you figure that aspect of things out? And Marlon LeBlanc called and said it was a pseudo scenario. They had the choice to go over on Friday, or yesterday, and sleep in a hotel, but he decided, look, it's better to sleep in your own bed. And outside of that, we'll approach it like any other road game. And in many ways, this feels kind of like the way a preseason game would have been like, which is how it's going to feel for a lot of these Prinx Tires USL Cup matches because of the proximity-based groups. So in that case, it's at least practice for road matches in this competition. And yet another change for Marlon LeBlanc. Jaden Servania will sub into this match. Quite a few guys on this Brooklyn FC roster with USL League One experience. Servania being no exception, having played at North Carolina FC both during their championship days and in the League One days prior to that. He'll sub on for Nishikawa. And you look at Servania, Gabby Alves, Sean Hundal way back when he was with Toronto FC 2. Of course, Obregon. good chunk of players who have played at the League One level. Lovely turn from Obregon. And he pokes it out wide, trying to keep the ball rolling for Anderson. Burns does well there. Get it out of harm's way and also potentially ask some questions. Milovanov composed there in traffic as Kofi is off and running. Christian Kofi lets it fly himself. Not a bad take from the winger. And it required a save from Lucas Burns to keep it at a 3-0 scoreline. Kofi back on the ball again. Milovanov. Wicked deflection. Another corner kick. Justin Milovanov letting that one fly. And he has it again. Oh, actually, that's Spangler. Curling inside! There was a poke from Guenzati, but it wasn't on frame, and we'll get another change here. Sebastian Guenzati, he's put him away from that spot across his career, as we're gonna get 2 changes for the Cosmos. Nestor Cabrera getting his 6th appearance of the season in total. And then Davey Mason will come on for Chavez. Davey Mason, certainly not a center back like Chavez, but that being said, William Docker with a ton of experience as a center back, so perhaps there will be a bit of a positional swap between players on the field. Davey Mason, a guy who can get forward too, so perhaps getting a bit more aggressive here, given the fact you're down 3 goals and you got to find something if you're the Cosmos. And we learned this in last year's competition as a yellow card is dished out. You lose a single game in this cup, and the odds of you advancing get real slim. Just a single loss can do you in. You just get 4 games in the group stage. And so you just have to go for it, even if you put yourself at risk of losing by a wider margin by throwing caution to the wind. Of course, there are obviously scenarios where you lose your first match and you still make it through, but you look at some of the teams that didn't qualify for the knockout round last year and only 1 L on the column, and that was enough to keep teams like Blue City out of the dance. Servania just too far ahead. Ion Bank, trusted, local, and always on your team. Whatever your personal or business banking goals, we're here to help you reach them. Discover the power of community banking and see what Ion Bank can do for you. You can find them at ionbank.com. But 15 more minutes to go in a game that Brooklyn took over control in the latter stages of the first half, and they've been looking to find a 4th here in the second half, but it just hasn't quite clicked for them. Cosmos have had an opportunity or 2 themselves, but obviously the hill is steeper for them to climb. Everything for Brooklyn's just extra gravy right now.
Substitution for the Cosmos, number 16, Davey Mason checks in for number 25, Jordan Chavez.
Mark Schoenster with you here in this, the opening match of the Prinx Tires USL Cup. Another opportunity for teams to pick up some silverware in a given season. Of course, on top of that, you have the opportunity to win the Players' Shield in league play and then hoist the title trophy in the playoffs. This is another chance to get a trophy by winning this competition, and then you've got the Lamar Hunt US Open Cup. Anderson drilling it in, and that took a skid, so it will be a corner kick. Lamar Hunt US Open Cup, of course, the most difficult of those for a USL team to attain up to this point. You never know, though, as the years go along in the future, should those tides change. Sac Republic a couple seasons ago were one game short of doing it, so it's certainly not out of the realm of possibility. Obregon, nodded away by Holt. And a little too much shirt tugging from Jaden Servania. Still hear the chanting of the faithful here at Hinchliffe Stadium. Kofi trying to give him something to erupt about it. This one is sprayed across. Play will go on. Milovanov knocked away by Burns. He's made a couple of good saves in this game. Certainly done everything he's had to do, Lucas Burns. You got to make the most of your starts, and I mean, up to this point, been able to stop everything flying his way, including a couple of diving efforts. I mean, look, here's the skinny of it. It is a 3-0 game. Brooklyn has the edge in shots on target. You look at possession, they have a favor in that regard. But when it comes to the chances generated, it's not too far off comparatively. Brooklyn at a 1.19 XG, Cosmos at 0.79. So when you look at those metrics, it's just been about execution in the final third that's been the difference in this game. And you could certainly see the moments and the opportunities where the Cosmos have fallen short in that regard, and Brooklyn, well, they've been clinical. 2 more changes readying for the home side as Patrick Bowie and Eligio Guarino is making his way on. Eligio Guarino, just his second appearance. Another guy coming over from NYCFC side of things, playing with the second team. And then Patrick Bowie, another one of those players that they really like as far as his athleticism is concerned over on the attacking side of things. Mason into the middle. Spangler chipping it back over to Mason. Well, too much contact there from the recent substitute, Nestor Cabrera.
Substitutions for the Cosmos. First, number 7, Eligio Guarino, coming in for number 28, Justin Milovanov. Number 22, Patrick Bowie, comes in for number 18, Christian.
There's a look at the contact as Obregon is pushed over by Cabrera. Another change getting ready here for Brooklyn as Tommy McNamara, veteran player in the MLS, readying to take to the pitch for the final roughly 10 minutes of action. Oh, he's not on the pitch yet. He can't contribute there.
Yellow card issued to number 13, Sebastián Guenzari, New York Cosmos. Tarjeta amarilla para el número 13, Sebastián.
Bowie tripped up. And a free kick for the Cosmos, which is taken quickly. And now Bowie is tripped up once again. Bowie, the Ivorian, 22-year-old winger with already an assist this season, although he's missed the last few matches, so I'd like to have him back in the mix. Cabrera. Right back to Morbito. Mason stepping in, Davy Mason. Look at Davy Mason go. Mason still running with it. Tried to cut it across. And now he's on the ball again after the effort from Bowie to keep the play alive. Guarino over to Spangler. He lifts it up. Nearly finds Quinzotti, but it wasn't to be. Spark of energy here for the Cosmos, but Brooklyn able to weather the storm. And now it's Marcus Anderson. Holt just gets a poke on that one to keep it away from Hoendal. They're gonna hold this free kick here. Lauren Aldrich. I want to allow Tommy McNamara to make his way on. And off comes what is currently the game-winning goal scorer, Juan Carlos Obregon Jr. Notching his second goal across all comps this season. His first, of course, in the USL Cup this year. The first across any team and any player. This being the opening match of the 2026 edition of the USL Cup.
Substitution for Brooklyn FC, entering the pitch, number 7, Tommy McNamara, for number 2.
Gets some love from his coach as he makes his way over to the bench.
Número 7, Tommy McNamara, entra para el número 29, Juan Carlos Obregón Jr.
Now Lucas Burns receiving the ball after it was blasted all the way across the pitch to him. Free kick for Brooklyn. They're going to take it quickly, but that is not what Lauren Aldrich had in mind. She'll bring the ball back. She had some business to take care of before allowing play to pick up once again. Okiyoshi. On it back over to Vuk Latinovic, who joins the back line here in the second half. Bowie. Swerving in. Took the place of Christian Kofi earlier. Cabrera. Teasing ball. Players go down. Ref says it's incidental contact. And now Okiyoshi will run it forward. Don't need to force anything if you're Brooklyn, but you don't want to put a defender in a bad spot. Long ball up the pitch. Anderson with some room to operate. Out to Vanka Yazil. He taps it to McNamara. And he had to do everything he could to even turn that one towards goal. That'll be a throw-in for Brooklyn as they try to find one more goal to take home with them. Vanka Yazil still running. Slides in the middle. Anderson with the turn. Marcus Anderson. Try to get it across the face of goal. Gets the second best thing, a corner kick. Ball curling inside, knotted straight up. Settled down nicely. Servania, second serve. Won't fall through. As Brooklyn withstand some green jerseys flying at them. And they'll go forward once more. McNamara, and no one's there to receive it. Quickly rolled away by Boris Del Valle. Goalkeeper coach plugging in for this game for the Cosmos. Pinto pops that one forward, and Anderson Holt is able to settle it down. A lot of great games today across the USL Cup in the different groups. A lot of different shows to choose from. Just open up ESPN Plus or go on CBS Sports Network and pick your poison. You got some interleague matches and some matches between some rivals within their own divisions. So whatever your preference is, probably going to find it in one of the games today. Collision on the other end of the pitch, and we're going to get another booking here. And that's just been given to Okiyoshi, I believe. William Patterson University is proud to be the official university partner of the New York Cosmos. We're a powerhouse in business education and the '1 producer of MBAs in New Jersey. Explore our wide range of undergraduate and graduate programs at wpunj.edu. And that's MBAs, not to be confused with the NBA, which is a basketball league. And it was Okiyoshi who got the card there. Morbito rolling it outside before it's played forward. Oh, how about these moves here? Anderson rolling it out to Vanka Yazil. The cross falls in. McNamara was waiting for it. Anderson is still down on the turf. Let's take a look at this collision again for Anderson. awkward fall for him after the challenge, and I do believe we're going to get a free kick here for Brooklyn. Lauren Aldridge digging into her pocket. Yellow card will be issued. And it's a second yellow card. And a red has been dished for Nestor Cabrera. Cabrera picked up a yellow card earlier in the game. Back in the 80th minute. And now he has been sent off as we hit stoppage time. Of course, that means the Cosmos will be down a player for the rest of this one, but also Cabrera will miss the next USL Cup game. He will be available for the game at Portland Hearts of Pine in league play coming up next weekend, but the match against Westchester in May, they will be without his services. It's Servania and McNamara behind this dead ball after the fact. They only have one more highlight to conjure up before this one's done. Servania parried away by Del Valle. Locker doing well in some duress. Bowie once again on the ball. Was able to get it forward to Ajmer Spangler. Once this game is done, your next two choices for matches in the USL Cup, Loudoun United and Charleston Battery, along with Richmond Kickers and Charlotte Independence, both of which at 6 p.m. So regardless of what you choose, you've got some time to recuperate before that game, as this shot's taken from the top of the 18 and it won't be put on frame. Time winding down here in the first iteration of this neighborhood clash between the Cosmos and Brooklyn. Ball rolled out wide. Kept in play by Locker. Julian Locker still going with it. Holt finds Mason. And the final whistle will sound. The opening match of the Prinx Tires USL Cup goes in favor of Brooklyn FC. Off to a racing start here in this competition, a 3-0 win over a local foe. A good win, a first road win of the season for Marlon LeBlanc's side. Of course, they didn't have to travel far for this fixture, but it is 3 points, which as of right now puts them top of Group 5. Of course, no other games have been played yet, so we'll wait to see where they stand at the end of the day, but 3 points plus 3 goal differential. You're feeling pretty darn good about where you stand to start off after your first match in this USL Cup competition. With that in mind, we're going to step aside. When we come back, we'll have our post-game thoughts here on ESPN+.
I'm Bree, and I am Ion.
नाम कलीम चान है और मैं आयन हूँ.
Yo soy Ion Bank.
I'm Tajinder Kaur, ਅਸੀਂ Ion Bank ਹੁੰਦੇ ਹਾਂ.
I'm Taiwan, and I am Ion.
اسمي أدمى وأنا آيان.
Ja jestem Ion Bank.
Io so Ion Bank.
Ja jestem Ion Bank.
I am Ion.
Ready, buddy? Here it comes. Keep your eye on the ball.
We see your future,
I got my eye on these colors.
your day-to-day,
Okay. Well, I got my eye on this.
Yeah, right.
really? And every big decision along the way. We see you when other banks really don't. So we can see you through anything. We're always looking out for you. Ion Bank.
Marlon LeBlanc's side victorious, 3 goals, 3 points in their debut in the Prinx Tires USL Cup. Mark Schoenster with you here on ESPN Plus as some of the Brooklyn faithful who traveled getting some high fives from the victorious team here as this one wraps up. Pretty nice victory for Brooklyn. Had some moments here where his teammates were trying to find him, but every chance couldn't break through, and so it's a clean sheet for Lucas Burns. It's 3 goals for Brooklyn FC, and it's 3 points for Brooklyn FC in this first ever fixture in this tournament and against their rivals, the New York Cosmos, at least what you would anticipate to become a rivalry in these next few years as it buds into something more beautiful and more adversarial. Well, the next time these two teams play in the Cup, it'll be in the middle of May, a Friday match at Westchester for the Cosmos. Meanwhile, a Saturday affair at home against Hartford, a chance for revenge for Brooklyn FC in that game. But this is where this show ends for our entire broadcasting crew. I'm Mark Schoenster. Say so long, have a good rest of your day, and be sure to tune in on all the other action coming up today in the Prinx Tires USL Cup.
This copyrighted telecast of the United Soccer League cannot be retransmitted, rebroadcast, or reproduced without the express written consent of the United Soccer League.